Hi, you're welcome to our 30 days story brand challenge. This is day 3, and we've been talking about story brands, the importance of story brands. We've talked about why story brands, but today, straight to the point, we're going to be talking about the common brand confusions that may be practical examples. Yahoo, they kept changing direction. Wow. So mail news, search engine, media tech, with no clear core offering. So their issue was on clear messaging. They didn't really put specify who Yahoo was for. They didn't talk about the problem. What problem does Yahoo solve? They didn't talk about um, what they really do. So people had to choose Google over Yahoo, I know, and the rest of the others. So what was their story brand mistake? The brand tried to be the hero, so they always wanted to be. And don't forget, I told you in our first episode that for your brand, position your brand as the guide, because you're the expert, and your customers as a hero. There was no clear plan, no clear message, no clear problem or success path for the customer. So why it failed? Customers couldn't see how Yahoo fit into their story. Number 2, JC Penny. No plan, no problem. That was the issue. Now, what really happened? Under the CEO, Ron Johnson, 2012, 2013 to 2013, JC Penny eliminated sales stroke promotions in favor of everyday low prices without explaining the change. Like I said, your customers are really important in whatever you're doing, especially when you're building a story brand. So they had an unclear message. Long time customers felt lost. Why are you saving money? All right. So their story brand mistake was they skipped the plan part of the story. So don't forget, we mentioned in our previous classes, we had mentioned several things you need to look out for. So there was something about the character, we had something about having a problem. He meets a guide, and the guide offers them a plan. All right. Now they fail to clarify how the change benefits the customer. That was one of their biggest issue. And don't forget, someone you feel you're the one who did investment, stakeholders. No, the most important people on your business is the hero, is the character, is your customers. So why it failed? Without a plan and unclear communication, customers lost trust and left. So they lost trust in the business in JCPenney and they left. So number 3, we have Radio Shack identity crisis. That was their issue. Now what happened? They tried to rebrand as the Shack without redefining their customer story. All right. So there was also an issue of unclear messaging. It's when the message is not clear. You know what happens? You confuse your customer, then you lose them. Now, the customers kept on asking, are these people still selling radios? Are you a tech store or a DIY or a lifestyle? Because they couldn't really understand what they were about. So, what was the story brand mistake here? Fail to define the customer's problem. People, they couldn't even know. Reason why you even get a guide at first, the reason why the customers will get the guide is because they have a problem. Why it failed? A name change doesn't create clarity. Story does. So changing a name doesn't create clarity when it comes to businesses. It's story that does. Number 4, we work. That's the name of the company. Now, what's the issue? Misplaced hero complex. So what happened? We work rebranded itself as a lifestyle revolution, not just office space. Now, same thing on clear message. The issue was people were trying to understand, are they a real estate company or a cult or a tech company? It was as bad as that. So what is the problem you are really solving? See, as something as important as the problem, once it's unclear, people cannot relate. Their story brand mistake was they made themselves the hero of the story. All right, customers didn't know their role and they didn't know what they stand to benefit. So Why did they fail? People don't buy into your brand journey. They buy into themselves as the hero. So nobody wants to know, I've done 10 years on it. Nobody cares. All they want to know is, all the time you've been serving me, how have you made me feel? So how have you made me feel? That's what many customers look out for. So let's move on to Kodak. Wow. So what did Kodak do? They ignored the customer's journey. What happened? Despite inventing digital photography, Kodak stuck to film too long. So based on the story, a researcher brought the whole digital memory card and all of that digital photography to them, and they outrightly, because they were making money, probably greed or something, so they outrightly said, no, we don't need it. They pushed him out of the bus. So he took his work somewhere else. And while he took his work somewhere else, man, people started looking for it. And before you know, Kodak would have been on top of their game, but they rejected it. So that's it. Now, what was the unclear message? Because of course they had an unclear message. They missed the shift in customers' problem from printing to sharing. So people had left the print media and they were now in the sharing, the digital world. All right. What was their brand mistakes? They didn't update the customer problem in their story. See, the way story brand is, you need to be updated. They try to guide customers back to a solution. That's film. They no longer needed. So the customer didn't need film. They have moved. And the truth is, you need to, as a business, you need to understand how stories, the trend of stories, follow it. Keep moving. You need to research. You need to be open. Your mind needs to be open. Now, why did their whole stuff fail, or business and all of that fail? If your brand solves the wrong problem, customers will be turned down. They'll tune out. They'll tune you out. You'll be like a radio. They'll just switch you off. You have to be clear with the problem. We need to understand what the problem is. Make your plan as simple as possible. These are brand mistakes that people brand make everywhere. People feel that sophistication comes from complexity. No. In fact, simplicity brings sophistication. When something is simple, it becomes sophisticated. Success needs to be visualized. When they cannot see where they are going to, they can't see the end, they may not want to board with you, because they want to succeed. Everybody loves everybody wants a good love story. Everybody remembers a good love story. All right. So you need to pay attention to these things as your brand, as your business, because, like I said, follow the trends. Things are moving. Be clear with your messaging, and of course, you would have the best kind of customers. In fact, people will always reach out to you and always be one part of your journey, your business journey. See you in the next episode.